Good morning, students. Welcome to the first class of the class 9th, the first biology class of class 9. In this, we are going to start with the 5th chapter of your NCERT book, that is the fundamental unit of life. Okay, let's start now. We know that every organism, each and every living organism is made up of the small functional units, and these units are called the cell. We define the cell as that the cell is a structural and the functional unit of life. Why the structural? Because all the organism structure cannot be imagined without the cell, and functional, all the functions are performed by the cell only. So that's why we define the cell as a structural and the functional unit of our life. Now in a small portion we'll discuss the discovery of the cell. We will not go with the detail. According to the class 9th only we'll discuss it. That the cell was observed by the scientist, that is Robert Hooke. He observed cell in 1665, and he first observed the cell in the bottle cap of the bottle, that is called cork. Now what is cork? Cork is made from the dark brown portion of the tree, that is called the bark, and that bark is used to make the cork. Is it clear? Now he observed that in his self-made compound microscope, and in this he observed that the small rooms are there, and these small rooms he named cell. And he described it in his book, that is called Micrographia. After that, after so many years, in 1674, Leeuwenhoek, another scientist, discovered the first living cell, and he discovered the first living cell in the pond fish. Okay, he used the semen, the sperm of the pond fish. Now after that, in 1838, the scientists, that is Schedin and Schwann, both of them given the theory, and the theory is called the cell theory, and in this theory they described the important points for the cell. The first point they given was all the living organisms are made up of one or more cells. One or more cell means on the basis of the one or more cells, we will discuss this in the further classes, that there are the organisms, some organisms that are made up of only one cell, and there are the number of the organisms made up of more than one cell, as we are the human beings made up of more than one cell. Amoeba, paramecium, all are the unicellular organisms that made up of only the one cell. So it means all the living organisms, the smallest or the largest, are made up of the cell only. Some are made up of the one cell, and some are the more than one cell. The next one is the cell is the basic structural and the functional unit in all living organisms. Means all the living organisms, the smallest or the largest, are made up of the cell only, and all the functions are being performed by the organism, or the structure of the organism is made up of the cell only. Now the next one is all the cells, whatever the cells, the new cells are being forming, the cells always form from the pre-existing cell. None of the other new cells is not going to form. All the new cells that are being formed always formed from the pre-existing cell. Means the cells that is being existing is only responsible for the formation of the new cell. This is all about of this class. Further we'll discuss in the other class. Thank you. Hello students, in the previous video we started our chapter the fundamental unit of life, and in that video I explained to you the what is cell, and and I also told you about the discovery of the cell. Now in this video I will start with the structure of the cell. Okay, now the structure of the cell, we will discuss here the structure of the eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cell is mainly form of the three components, or we can say that I will divide the cell into three parts. The outermost, the first one is the outermost part of the cell, that is called the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. Okay, then in center we have the control room of the cell. In this is the control room of the cell, we call it nucleus, and the plasma membrane enclose the matrix, or the you can say the jelly like fluid in the cell, and this jelly like fluid is called cytoplasm. Cyto means cell and plasm means liquid, means cell fluid is called the cytoplasm. In cytoplasm we have the number of other cell organelles. Organelles means the parts of the small structures present in the cytoplasm, that we will all discuss in the cytoplasm only. Firstly, in this video today we will start with the plasma membrane. Now plasma membrane is our selectively permeable membrane that encloses the cell. Means selectively permeable membrane means that the membrane that allows only the selected substances to enter and exit the cell. Okay, then it is the main features of this is that encloses the cell, it allows the or you can say it controls the entry and exit of the substances in the cell, and it allows only the selected substances to enter inside the cell. Now this entry and exit of the certain substances is being carried out by the two main processes, that the diffusion and the osmosis. Firstly we will discuss with the diffusion. Now the first one is diffusion. Diffusion means the movement of the molecules, or any substance from the region of higher concentration. Means higher concentration means where they are in more concentration, more quantity, from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. For example, you can see in this box, here the molecules, these are the molecules. Here the quantity of the molecules in this column is more in comparison to this. It means the molecules will move from this section to this section, or you can say it A part or B part. It means the number of the molecules in A part is more in comparison to B, so the molecules will move from A part to B part. Okay, now this movement of the molecules that is from higher concentration to the lower concentration is called diffusion. Now the second process that helps for the entry and exit of the substances, that is osmosis. Osmosis means the movement of the molecules. Here not any other molecule, only the water molecule. Make it very clear, here the movement of water molecule. In osmosis it is a very important point to mention here, that the movement of the water molecules from the region of higher concentration to the lower concentration through the selectively permeable membrane is called osmosis. Okay, here again we have the two chambers. I denoted here this red particles are the water molecules. Now you can see in B chamber the red particles are less, so and in A chamber it is more, so the molecules will move from A chamber to B chamber. Okay, now the very important thing in this, that the movement of the molecules is through the semi permeable membrane. Here you can see the membrane, this is the semi permeable membrane. Okay, it is the very important thing. You can say the difference between the diffusion and the osmosis is this. In diffusion, the movements of the molecule, any molecule it can be, the water molecule and any solute molecule also it can be, it from the region of higher concentration to the lower concentration. But in osmosis there is only the movement of the water molecules. Okay, here no membrane is required for the movement of the molecules, but here the movement of the molecule is only through the selectively permeable membrane. Okay, now when the movement of the molecules is from one place to the another, it is through the different in the different types of the solution. Mainly we have the three types of the solution that helps in the movement of the molecules. The first type of the solution, that is hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution means the solution where the cell is surrounded by the large quantity of the water. Means the quantity of the water is more outside the cell in comparison to inside the cell. That type of the solution is called hypertonic solution. In this case, the water molecule will move from cell to outside, means the cell in solution of lower concentration. Here the water concentration is less in the outer environment in comparison to the cell, so the water molecules will move out of the cell. So that type of the solution is called hypertonic solution. In this case the cell will become plasmolized, means shrink it will. Okay, now the next one, it is isotonic solution. Isotonic solution means the concentration of the molecules is equal on both the side, inside the cell and outside the cell. In this case the movement of the molecules will be equal. Okay, means equally the molecules will move out of the cell and in of the cell. Okay, the third type of the solution is the hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solution means the solution in which the water concentration is more outside the cell. Here the water concentration is less inside the cell. Here the water concentration is less outside the cell. Here the water concentration is more outside the cell. If it is less outside the cell, then the water is moving out, and here the inside the cell water concentration is less, that's why the water is moving inside. In this case the cell will become turgid. Is it clear? So this is all about this. Now the next, and we will discuss in the next video. Hello students, in the previous class I started the structure of the cell, and in the structure of the cell I told you that we will discuss into three parts. The first one, the plasma membrane, then nucleus, and then cytoplasm. We covered in the previous class plasma membrane. Now in this class we will discuss about the nucleus. Let me first explain you what is the nucleus. Nucleus is the control room of the cell. Why we say it the control room of the cell? Because it is controlling the information that is being transferred from parents to the next generation, and it is controlling all the cellular activities. Means all the cell activities are being controlled by the nucleus only. Now the nucleus has been discovered by the scientist we call Robert Hooke. Let me first tell you the structure of the cell. Firstly, the cell is a double membrane structure. Means you can see here, I drawn here the double membrane structure like this. The two membranes are there like this. So the cell is the double membrane structure, and in these membranes is being perforated by the small pores like this. So these pores are called the nuclear pores, and this nucleus, the membrane, encloses the fluid in the cell, and this fluid we call the nucleoplasm. The fluid that is being filled in the nucleus is called the nucleoplasm. Now in the center we have the ball-like structure in the nucleus, and this ball-like structure that is present in the nucleus like this, it is called the nucleolus. Getting? Now we have these thread-like structure in the nucleus like this. That thread-like structures are called chromatin fibers. These are the chromatin fibers. Nucleus is being attached to the membrane with the help of the structure that is called this structure you can see here, that is called the endoplasmic reticulum. Now let me clear you the functions of these parts. First of all, we have the nuclear envelope that separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm. Then we have the small pores. The small pores in the nucleus that helps in the exchange of the chemical substances between the cytoplasm and the nucleus. Now here we have the structure that is ball-like structure, nucleolus. Nucleolus is the structure that is being helpful. This structure is being helpful for the protein synthesis. Means the protein is being synthesized here in the nucleolus. Now the next structure that we have here is the thread-like structure. You can see the small threads are being present here. These threads are called the chromatin fibers, which is composed of the two things, that is DNA and protein. DNA is the genetic material that transfers the information of the parents to their offsprings. Now when these thread-like structures are being condensed, then they been converted into the chromosomes. The chromosomes like structure, when these chromatin fibers are being condensed means they will, in the other stage of the cell division, they will be becoming like this, and these are called the chromosomes. Chromosomes are the thread-like structure that are present in the nucleoplasm. Chromosome are being discovered by the scientists that is called Waldeyer. Now let me tell you the structure of the chromosome. Chromosome is having the arms that are called the chromatids, and these chromatids are being attached to one another in the center with the help of the structure that is called centromere. And in the chromosomes we have the single double-stranded DNA. Means the double-stranded DNA is present in the chromatid. Now what is the function of the chromosomes? I told you that DNA is present in the chromosomes. So it means that it is helpful for the transmission of the genetic information. Means whatever the characters of the parents have been there, that are being transferred to the offsprings, means their child, with the help of the structure that is called the DNA, and this DNA is present in the chromosomes, and this chromosome is present in the nucleus. Getting what I am telling? Now the small structure, for example, it is our DNA. So the small units of the DNA, means small parts of the DNA, are called the genes. So you can say the functional units of the DNA are called genes, that are the only basic thing that are responsible for the transferring of the characters to their offspring. This is all about our nucleus. Study well. Classes, I told you we started the structure of the cell and we completed the two parts, the plasma membrane and the nucleus. Now in this class we will discuss the cytoplasm, and you know the cytoplasm is the jelly-like fluid that has been present in the cell, and this fluid contains the number of the cell organelles. Now what are the cell organelles? The living components present in the cytoplasm are called the cell organelles. The first cell organelle that is we are going to start here is mitochondria. Now what is mitochondria? Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Powerhouse means it is providing the energy to the cell. Okay. Now mitochondria, it is called the powerhouse of the cell, and let me tell about the small discovery. It is being discovered by the Kolker, and it is being studied by the scientist that is called Altman. Okay, now let me tell you the structure of the cell. The mitochondria is a double membrane structure. You can see here the double membrane are there, like this one membrane, and here the second membrane. The two membranes are there. Mitochondria is a double membrane structure. The outer membrane is a complete membrane. You can see it is the complete membrane, and the inner membrane is being folded inside like the finger like projections, like the fingers like this. Okay, so it is being folded like the finger like projections. So outer membrane is a complete membrane, inner membrane is being folded inside like the fingers, and these foldings are called cristae. What do we call it? Cristae. Now inside this cristae we have this knob-like structure present. Small knob-like structures are being present inside the cristae, and these knob-like structures are called the F1 particles, or you can say it oxysomes. Okay, here the mitochondria is having its own ribosomes as well as its own DNA, and the fluid that is being present in the mitochondria is called the matrix. Now I told you that the mitochondria is also the very important thing about mitochondria. It is a semi-autonomous organelle. Semi-autonomous. It is semi-autonomous. Autonomous organelle. What is the meaning of semi-autonomous? The organelle that is having its own DNA is called the semi-autonomous organelle. So the DNA, after the nucleus, mitochondria is the cell organelle that is having its own DNA. That's why we call it the semi-autonomous organelle. Now I tell you that what is the main function of the mitochondria. I told you that mitochondria is used to store the energy in the form of ATP. So it is also called the powerhouse of the cell, which is providing the energy to the different parts of the cell. Okay, let me discuss the structure once again. It is a double membrane structure. Outer membrane is being folded inside like the finger like projections. We call it cristae, and in this the cristae we have the small knob like structures. What we call these knobs? F1 particles, or you can say also oxysomes. Now it contains this its own DNA as well as its own ribosomes. That's why we also call it the semi-autonomous organelle. It is having its own DNA, and it is the most important thing of this, that it stores all the energy in the form of ATP. That's why we call it the powerhouse of the cell. That is all about this. Thank you. In the previous classes we were discussing about the cell structure, and we had discussed the many parts of the cell, as the plasma membrane, nucleus, mitochondria. All these we had already discussed here, and I think I hope that you all understood all the topics that were discussed in the previous classes. Now today we are going to start with a new topic of the same chapter, or you can say the new organelle of the plant cell, that is endoplasmic reticulum. When I was explaining you the nucleus, I explained you that nucleus is surrounded by a network. That nucleus has been surrounded by a network, and I call that network the endoplasmic reticulum. You can see the network is there. that is surrounding the nucleus, and we call that network endoplasmic reticulum. Now you can see that this endoplasmic reticulum, one end of this endoplasmic reticulum is towards the nucleus and the other end is towards the plasma membrane. It means it is the network between the nucleus and the plasma membrane, which is almost distributed in all of the cytoplasm. Means it covers the this network is covering almost the more and more area in the cytoplasm. Is it clear? Now it is the main part of the cell. It is a very important part of the cell because it is the production unit of the cell. Why we call the production unit of the cell? Because it is used to form the number of the products in the cell which are being required. Understood? Now you can see that endoplasmic reticulum, I told you it is being surrounded around the nucleus and it is having the small tube-like structure. These tube-like structures are called the cisternae. Cisternae are the tube-like structures of the nucleus, and we have the endoplasmic reticulum. Now endoplasmic reticulum is on the basis of the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum. We have the two types of endoplasmic reticulum, the rough and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. If we have the small ball like structure on the outer surface of the wall of the endoplasmic reticulum, then it makes the surface rough. Due to the rough surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, we call it the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Understood? Now what is these ball like structures? These ball like structures are ribosomes. Ribosomes is also the cell organelle which is responsible for the protein synthesis. Means it is used to synthesize the proteins, which is a very important part of the cell. And due to the presence of the ribosomes on the outer wall of the endoplasmic reticulum, it makes the surface rough also. Now the second part of the endoplasmic reticulum, now you can see the second type of the endoplasmic reticulum is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. It have the smooth surface. Why it has the smooth surface? Because its outer covering is smooth, and due to the absence of the ribosomes, it is very responsible for this to synthesize the fats and the lipid. You might have been remember I told you that the plasma membrane is made up of proteins and the lipids, and just now I told you that it is the production unit of the cell. It means it is producing the proteins and the lipids which are responsible for the formation of the plasma membrane. It means endoplasmic reticulum is helpful for the formation of plasma membrane. Is it clear? Now the next is the function. Let us discuss the function of the endoplasmic reticulum. First thing, I told you that it is used in the formation of the plasma membrane. It means it makes a framework of the cell, because plasma membrane is the frame of the cell. Next thing, it makes a protein and lipids which synthesize the membrane. Synthesize means the making. Okay. Synthesized word here means making of the membrane. So the lipids and the proteins that are made in the endoplasmic reticulum are used in the formation of the plasma membrane. Now proteins are very helpful because they are also acting as the enzymes. Number of the enzymes that are being used in our body for the number of the functions are the proteins only. What are enzymes? Enzymes, you might have heard the word catalyst in the biology, chemistry. Enzymes means the products that used to speed up the reaction. That products are called the enzymes. Now the next thing, I told you that endoplasmic reticulum, one end is being connected to the nucleus and other end is being connected to the plasma membrane. So it means it used to transfer the substances. Now it means it's used to transfer the substances from the nucleus to the cytoplasm and from one region of the cytoplasm to the another. It is a very important function of the endoplasmic reticulum, that is used to transfer the substances from the nucleus to the cytoplasm and from one region of the cytoplasm to the another. Why nucleus to the cytoplasm? Because one end of it is connected to the nucleus and the other end is connected to the plasma membrane, and it is completely dispersed in the cytoplasm. That's why it's transfer the substances from one region of the cytoplasm to the another. It is a very important function of the endoplasmic reticulum. Now the last in the nose, it is very important point, that it provides the mechanical support to the cell. Mechanical support means whatever the thing that is being damaged or degenerated in the cell, it used to make it again. It means it will provide the mechanical support to the cell. One important thing is that it used to detoxification of the drugs and the poisons in the liver. Whatever the drugs or the things, medicines we are taking, if it is having the harmful effects on our body, it used to detoxify it. Okay, this is all about endoplasmic reticulum. Rest we'll discuss in the other class. Thank you. Hello students, we were discussing we had started the chapter fundamental unit of life, and many parts we had discussed the many cell organelles, and today we are also going to start with the same only. And the important cell organelle that we are going to start today is the Golgi apparatus, or we can also say it the Golgi complex. Now you can see in the cell, here the disc-like structures are present in the cell that are being arranged one above the another. These disc-like structures that are being arranged in the cell one above the another are called the Golgi apparatus, or you can also say the Golgi bodies. Now you can see that the one end of the Golgi apparatus is being towards the nucleus, means the face of the Golgi apparatus, the one side is towards the nucleus and the other side is towards the plasma membrane. Now you can see the disc-like structures. See, the discs are there. These discs are called the plasma membrane. Now Golgi apparatus. Now the Golgi apparatus is made up of the three parts. You can see it consists of three parts. Firstly, the tube-like structure, and these tubes are called cisternae. Then you can see here the big balls are being present, and these balls are called vacuoles. You might have heard that there is the bag-like structure in the cell that used to store the food material, and these bag-like structures that are being surrounded in the Golgi apparatus are called the vacuoles. Now we have the small balls that are being surrounded here, and these small balls are called vesicles. Vesicles and the vacuoles somehow have the same type of the structure, and only the difference is that the vacuoles used to store the food material and the vesicles used to transport the food material from one part of the cell to the another. Now these cisternae are being arranged parallel to each other. Parallel means one above the another. This type of the arrangement you might have seen when we place the coin one above the another, that is the placement is called the parallel arrangement. Or you might have arranged the paper one above the another, that is the parallel arrangement. In the same way, the cisternae is being parallel arranged above one another. Now these parallel arranged discs are called the cisternae, and we have the Golgi apparatus similar function in both the plant and the animal cell, but there is a one major difference between the plant and the animal cell arrangement in the Golgi apparatus. You can see that it is the animal cell. Now in animal cell, the Golgi apparatus are being arranged in the disc one above the another, and it is based just near to the nucleus. But in plant cell, the Golgi apparatus are not being arranged one above the another. It is being distacked, or you can say it is being dispersed in the whole cytoplasm. Okay, this is the major difference between the plant and the animal cell in the arrangement of the Golgi apparatus. In the plant cell, the Golgi apparatus are being arranged near the nucleus, but in the animal cell, the Golgi apparatus are being arranged near the nucleus, but in the plant cell, the Golgi apparatus are being distracted, or you can say they are being distrapped in the cytoplasm. Okay, now the next thing, we have the two phases of the Golgi apparatus. One phase that is towards the nucleus, another phase towards the plasma membrane. The phase that is towards the nucleus is called the cis phase. You can say it cis phase. For example, it is the nucleus. Here, for example, it is nucleus. The phase towards the nucleus is called the cis phase, and the phase that is towards the plasma membrane is called the trans phase. Okay, now the most important thing that the function we are going to discuss here, that the Golgi apparatus used to store, pack the product, modify and pack the product. Store means, for example, the nucleus is preparing something, and this, for example, the nucleus is having the ribosomes used to form the proteins. These proteins are being transported out from the nucleus, and while transporting out of the nucleus, they will transfer it to the vacuoles. Now vacuoles transfer it to the cisternae, and in the cisternae they are modified. Modified means they are being changed into the desired product. Whatever the product it is being desired here, or what the cell is being needed, that product is being modified here, and after modification again it is being transported into the trans section of the vacuoles, and from there they will move to the target organ. Target organ means the organ or the part where it is being required. Okay, now after this, the next most important function of the Golgi apparatus, that it used to transfer, or it used to convert the complex sugar molecule, means whatever we are eating, they all are the complex sugar molecules, and these complex sugar molecule for being digesting in our body, they should be converted into the simple sugar molecules, and for the conversion of the simple sugar molecules, the Golgi apparatus is being helpful. Now the next thing, it is also used for the formation of the one most important part of the cell, that is lysosomes, that we will discuss in our other class. Thank you. Hello students, up till now the number of the cell organelles we had discussed nucleus, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, and plasma membrane. So many all the structures we already had discussed. Now today we are going to discuss the very important structure of the cell, or you can say the cell organelle. That is very important cell organelle, lysosomes. Lysosomes is you can see the small structures. These round bodies are being seen in the cell, scattered one place to another. These are called the lysosomes. What do we call it? Lysosomes. Now the lysosomes does not have any special structure. They are the single membrane. They have only the single membrane bound organelle that is present in the cell. Understood? This is spherical sac-like structure. You can see here the spherical sac-like structure. If it is being sac, then it is very natural that it needs to be filled with some thing. So it is being filled with the digestive enzyme. Now what a digestive enzyme, it is hydrolytic in nature. It is the digestive enzyme formed here, it is hydrolytic in nature. It helps to break the complex substances present in the cell into the simpler substances. Understood? Now the one more important thing about the lysosome, it is the kind of the waste disposal system of the cell. Why we call the waste disposal system? That whatever the waste material is being present in the cell, it is being digested by the digestive enzyme present in the lysosome. So that's why we call it the waste disposal system of the cell. Understood? Means it cleans the cell, means whatever the foreign material, whatever the bacteria, enzymes, or the whatever the harmful substances that are being entering in the cell, it is being digested with the digestive enzyme, and it will clean the cell. Clear? Now one more important term is related with the lysosome, that we call the lysosome the suicide bag. We call it suicide bag because at that time when there is that cell start damaging, then the whatever the waste material present in the cell, and that waste material is being digested by the cell, and means when the cell damage, the lysosomes burst out, and the enzyme that is present in the cell will digest its own cell. Clear? That's why it is called the suicide bag of the cell. Now it is very important thing that the cell division, means whenever the cell start damaging, the new cell will start, then it will helpful in the initiation or starting the cell division. Is it clear? One, lysosomes are formed by the Golgi complex. In the Golgi complex, when I was explaining you the Golgi complex, I told you the small sac-like structures have been forming, and these sac-like structures are being developed into the form of lysosomes. This all is about the lysosome. Next we will discuss in the other class. Friends, we were doing the cell structure, and in the cell structure we had discussed many parts. Today the part that we are going to discuss here in the cell is ribosomes. Now what are ribosomes? When we were discussing about the nucleus, I told you that in the nucleus we have this ball-like structure, nucleolus. In the nucleolus the ribosomes are being formed. These are the structure that are used for the formation of the ribosomes. Is it clear? Now ribosomes are formed in the nucleolus and they are formed in both the types of the cell, prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. Understood? Now this ribosomes was discovered by the scientist that is called Palade. He was the first one to discover the ribosomes. Got it? Now ribosomes are the cell organelle that do not have membrane. You might have heard that in the prokaryotic cell we have all there is no membrane present in the cell. It means that in prokaryotic cell there is no membrane bound organelle present. That's why the ribosomes are also found in prokaryotic cell as well as in the eukaryotic cell. Now there is some difference between the formation of the ribosomes in the prokaryotic cell and in the eukaryotic cell. In prokaryotic cell, ribosomes are always found free, means they are being scattered in the cytoplasm. Understood? Now, and in the eukaryotic cell, the ribosomes are being found attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. You can see the small dot-like structure are being found on the endoplasmic reticulum. These dot-like structures are called ribosomes. So, in the cell, the ribosomes can be freely scattered, means present as it is in the nuclear membrane, cytoplasm. Otherwise, it can be attached to the endoplasmic reticulum also. Now, ribosomes in the prokaryotic cell are always freely scattered, means they are not attached to any cell organelle, but in the eukaryotic cell they are being attached to the cell organelle that is called endoplasmic reticulum. Is it clear? Now let me tell you the structure of the ribosomes. Ribosome is made up of RNA and protein. Understood? Means RNA is ribonucleic acid. What is RNA? RNA is ribonucleic acid. So in the structure, the first most important thing is that ribosome is made up of RNA and protein. It has a 2 subunits, means the small units are being present. These are called subunits. Now in this subunits you can see one is the largest subunit and the other one is the smaller subunits, means 2 units are there, larger and the smaller unit. Now at the time of the protein synthesis, both the units join together. Clear? But when there is the absence of the photosynthesis, means the protein synthesis is not being taking place, at that time both the subunits will be free, means they will not attach with each other, and at that time they are not called ribosomes, they are called with the other name that is called polysomes. Got it? Now the types of ribosomes, we have the 2 types of the ribosomes, 70S ribosomes and 80S ribosome. The first one is 70S ribosomes. These type of the ribosomes are found in prokaryotic cell, means the 70S ribosomes are found in prokaryotic cell, and they have again the 2 subunits, 50S and 30S. Now you will say the 50 and 30S 80S, but I written here 70S. But why? At the time of the protein synthesis, both the units will come together, and when they will attach with each other, the some part of the units will overlap each other, and due to the overlapping of both the units, some of the unit is being mixed. That's why it is called as 70S rather than 80S. Now in eukaryotic cell we have the 80S types of ribosomes. Again it will have the 2 subunits, 60S and 40S. The larger unit is of 60S and the smaller unit is of 40S. Now same thing, at the time of the protein synthesis, these units will come together and some portion of the units will overlap on each other, and due to the overlapping of each other, in spite of saying it the 100S, we are speaking it 80S. Is it clear? This is all about the ribosome and its structure. Now let me clear you the function of the ribosome. Ribosome is the site for protein synthesis, means it is the place where the protein synthesis takes place. Whatever the information they are been getting, they are coding it into the different types of protein and sending to the different parts of the cell. One thing. Second thing, all the proteins that are being formed are being functioning as the enzymes that are helpful for performing or for speeding up the different cellular activities. So that ribosomes are the place from where the enzymes are being formed for the different cellular activities. This is all about ribosome. Next we will discuss in other class. Okay. Hello students, we were studying our chapter fundamental unit of life, chapter first, and it is the cell organy that we are going to start today is the plastid. Plastid is a cell organy that is found only in the plant cell. It is absent in the animal cell. Okay, and most important thing that this plastid is the cell organy that is used for the process of photosynthesis, giving different colors to the flowers and the fruits. Okay, the one more very interesting thing about the plastid, it is like mitochondria. It is semi-autonomous organy. I told you in the mitochondria that they have their own genetic material as well as ribosomes. In the same way, the plastid is also the cell organy that is having its own genetic material and ribosomes. So it is also called the semi-autonomous organy. We have the three types of the plastids: chromoplast, chloroplast, and leucoplast. The first one is the chromoplast. Chromo means imparting the different colors to the plants, means for example red, blue, green vegetables you are having, and this color, different colors of the vegetables and the fruits are due to the presence of the plastid that is called chromoplast. Now the next one we have the plastid that is called chloroplast. Chloro means it is having the chlorophyll pigment that is giving the plants a green color, so it is responsible for giving the green color to the plants. The next one we have the leucoplast. Leucoplast, it is a colorless plastid and it is involved in various kinds of the food storage. Okay, for example protein, oils, starch, etc. Okay, now in your syllabus we have the detailed study of the chloroplast. Let me clear you first with the diagram. The chloroplast is having the double membrane, means two membrane are there, outer membrane and inner membrane. Okay, it is having the DNA and ribosomes also. It is also called the kitchen of the cells because it is used to make the food for the plants. Okay. Now the most important thing for this, it is having the two regions. You can see the long rod shaped structures are there. Clear? That is called lamella. What do we call it? Lamella. On the lamella we have these coins like structure. These coins like structure are called thylakoid, and the complete packet of the coin, means the one coin is called thylakoid and the complete packet of that coins is called the grana. Okay, and grana is the part of the chloroplast that is responsible for the light reaction. Light reaction means photosynthesis, means sunlight, it is only responsible for trapping the sunlight. Okay, now the next you can see the black dot structures are present here in the cell. That is the liquid that is present in it, means the fluid present in the chloroplast, and this fluid is called stroma. Stroma is the part of that chloroplast which is responsible for the dark reaction. Dark reaction means the process of the photosynthesis will started with the grana, means light reaction will start here and then it will complete it in the stroma. Got it? Now the most important thing is this, I told you that it is a semi-autonomous organy. Then you can see here that it is having the ribosomes as well as its own DNA. Got it? Now what is the function? I told you that it is the function of the chloroplast to trap the sunlight and do the photosynthesis, due to which the plants are getting the food and energy for the different life processes. Okay, it is sufficient for that. Hello students, we are doing the chapter fundamental unit of life, and so many cell organelles we have completed. Now one more important cell organelle that we are going to start here is the vacuole. Okay, now vacuole is being seen in the cell like the empty space. You can see it is a cell and here it is the empty space is being seen, but it is not the empty. Okay, it is not the empty space, it is storing the number of the food materials. So it is a storage sac. We cannot say the empty space, these are the storage sac. Now one important and interesting thing about it, you can see that it is the animal cell and is a plant cell. In the animal cell we have the large vacuole. You can see now in the nucleus has been on the one side, nucleus एक side चला गया और and it is having the large vacuole, and but in animal cells it is having the small vacuoles. This is the one important thing about the plant cell and the animal cell. Now the next one thing, that in the plant cell the vacuole is a permanent structure, but in animal cells the vacuoles are temporary structure. Whenever it is the need they are formed, and after that they are finished from there, they are degenerated. Okay, now in the plant cell you can see we have only the single vacuole, but animal cells we have the number of the vacuoles are being present. Now the vacuole in the plant cell is permanent, and due to the permanent structure it has been having the boundary, means it is being covered by the membrane, and that membrane is called tonoplast. Okay, in plant cell the vacuole is being covered by a membrane, and that membrane is called tonoplast. Got it? Now in this I told you that animal cells, it is storing the number of the food materials, for example proteins, glucose, all this it is been storing. But in animal cell it is not having the storing the thing, it is having the structure that is called cell sap. Means in plant cell the cell sap is being filled in the vacuoles, and this cell sap is used for containing the mineral, sugar, amino acid, proteins and the waste products. Now the function of the vacuoles. Now vacuole is being filled with the number of the things due to which it make the cell turgid. Turgid means उसे फुला देती है, अच्छे से पूरा shape form करती है. Okay. Now I told you it stores the different food materials. It also help in the cell for the growth. Got it? Now, and one more important thing, it is storing the number of the food materials as well as the number of the substances, due to which it is also useful for maintaining the water balance of the cell. This is all about vacuoles. Okay. Hello students, you know that we are doing the chapter first of class 9, the fundamental unit of life, and it is in that we had discussed the number of the cell organelles, the nucleus, plasma membranes and plastids and mitochondria. So many things we had discussed. Now today we are going to wind up the chapter with the last cell organelle, that is called the centrosome and centrioles. Now let me clear you the most important thing, the position of the centrosome, where it is present. For example, it is our cell, and in the cell in the center we have the nucleus. Now on both the side of the nucleus we are having this star shaped structure, and this star shaped structure is called the centrosome. The term centrosome was given by the scientist that is called de Broglie. It was the scientist who given the term centrosome. Got it? Now centrosome, it is being found in the animal cells, but it is absent in the plant cell. It is also the important thing and differentiate between the animal cell and the plant cell. It is present in the only animal cell and it is absent in the plant cell. But in plant cell also the same type of the structure is present, that is called the polar caps. Means in the place of the centrosome we have the structure that is performing the same type of the function, and we call it the polar caps. Now I cleared you the position that it is present just near the nucleus. Now centrosome is having the two rod shaped structures. Means rod shaped structures are there, and these rod shaped structures are called centrioles. Got it? And they are arranged near to the nucleus and perpendicular to each other. Means all these rod shaped structures are being arranged perpendicular to each other. Now in the place cytoplasm where this is present, where the centrioles are being present, it making the space, and that space is called centrosphere. Got it? Now this centriole is made up of these rods, and these rods are called microtubules. These long rods are there. These rods are called microtubule, and it is making the structure like wheel, cart and the wheel. Clear? You can say it is making the structure like the wheel, and it is having 9 spokes like this, and these 9 spokes are called microtubules, and they are in triplet. Means 3 sets they are. Okay. Now the function of it, at the time of the cell divisions, these will be separate and form the spindle. Spindle means एक rod shaped structure form करेगा, and that spindle is used to separate or to migrate the cells into the different poles, so that easily cell division can take place. Okay. So the most important function of the centrosome is, or you can say the only function for the centrosome is that it is used to divide the cell. When we are forming the new cell from the pre-existing cell, then the most important thing is being performed by the centrosome only, that it is used to divide the cell into 2 parts. Okay. This is all about centrosome and centrioles. Thank you.